Welcome everyone to ShootNLoot episode 12. We're running and gunning, watching and discussing all things video games and your weekly source of geekdom. I'm your host, the intrigued one, Kevin Alvarez, and to my physical front is none other than Rob the Man.
Hello everybody.
Join us as we talk about entertainment that moves us or brings us dismay. If you're new to this channel, welcome and let's have some fun. Today's topics are, we're going to talk about Psychonauts 2, Marvel's Avengers, War of Wakanda expansion pack that came out.
Right on.
And we're going to talk about some older movies and older shows like Goodfellas and Dragon Ball. However, before we get into it, you know the gambit. Like and subscribe to the channel if you enjoyed the show and follow us on our various social media channels. Rob, what have you been playing?
Hello Kev. I have been playing Psychonauts 2. Mm-hmm. That's been my main game right now. I've never played Psychonauts 1, but I am a Tim Schafer fan. I did play Brutal Legend with Jack Black. And so that kind of piqued my recently actually. Mm-hmm. So that piqued my interest when I found out they were making a Psychonauts 2. But I'm loving it, man. So far so good. I'm not too far. I'm about maybe 3 missions in.
2 brains in.
3 brains in. But
what was the third brain? Because it's the dentist and then in Hollis.
But don't you go to 2 spots in Hollis's?
That's true. You're right.
You're right. To like so it's not the brain, but it's like there's 2. She's separated into 2.
Right.
Yeah, but it's so fun, man. It just reminds me of like old school PS1 platformers, but super smooth, super, very well done, very tight. I like how some of the platforming isn't obvious all the time. Sometimes you have to go into something that seems like it's background, like set dressing.
Right.
And that's the way to go. So I love that. That's really cool. But what do you think of it so far, man?
Yeah, same. I'm in the same boat as you. I never played Psychonauts 1, but that game always had like such a high pedigree, even back then when it first came out.
Right.
I remember back in the day when G4 TV was on TV.
Right.
That was back when if you're newer, younger audience member, there was a time when video games used to be covered on TV, on cable television.
By Olivia Munn.
By Olivia Munn, Adam Sessler, Morgan Webb. A lot of these people, Kevin Pereira.
Yeah, Kevin Pereira.
And a lot of these people were championing video game content on cable television.
Right.
But as cable television, kept kind of not denying it, but there just wasn't enough of an audience on cable TV. Which is funny because considering that how much gaming is part of YouTube now and just fucking blew off in the more of an internet video space, which kind of just shows you like,
that could have been an omen, right? That could have been an omen of a booming market with no representation on cable television.
We don't fucking need cable television because it just fucking blew up on YouTube.
Exactly, but the cable company should have seen that as an omen, man.
Right? So back in the day, they would cover this game a lot. Even back then, it was always held to a high regard just for its platforming, its psychedelic environments, and some of the topics that it dealt with, like with mental health, going to different people's brains, picking out what makes a person tick.
Yeah,
it was kind of fun at the time because there was nothing like it at the time.
And the few levels that I've gotten into, it's like there are, the main character Raz, he tries to like manipulate someone and put like kind of incept a thought into their brain, and then there's like huge repercussions, and it's really interesting to see how. At least the message from the first couple of levels is respecting people's boundaries and having consent to like speak to people or even put ideas in their head and stuff like that. So it's been really interesting. Yeah,
and Psychonauts 2 definitely delivers on that 16-year itch that a lot of fans have been having. Again, I never played Psychonauts once when it came out. Now I do want to go back eventually to play that game.
Yeah.
But even just playing Psychonauts 2 as a person who just jumped in now, they do a cool little refresher. They showed you what their story was from the beginning, all the way to the Rhombus of Ruin, which is a VR game that they did for, I think, PlayStation.
Oh, okay.
And then from there, that's where you start off. You're starting off Psychonauts 2 after these events are already happened.
So this is the third Psychonauts game.
It's like the full, because the Rhombus of Ruin wasn't like a full game. It's like a little
VR experience.
Exactly.
Okay.
So then we have Raz being because in the first game, I believe they were at a camp. like kind of like a psychic, training camp.
Right.
And now he's actually being inducted as an actual Psychonaut.
As an intern.
As an intern.
Yeah. As an intern.
And but yeah, dude, it's been it's been such a fun game in a way that I haven't had in a long time.
Yeah.
It's very colorful. Platforming games are not that huge anymore. And mostly if you wanted something of that level, you go to the Nintendo, right? You go to the Legend of Zeldas, the Metroids, the Marios to get some of that platforming itch. We got a new Crash Bandicoot, but that game has been killed, and now there's just another Call of Duty machine. You know what I'm saying? Like things like that. So you don't get a lot of platforming, multi-platform games anymore. Yeah. But I'm glad that Psychonauts and Double Fine did make this game and made it happen. And I think, and so far from what we played, it's hitting on all cylinders. It's creative. It has platforming, but it doesn't feel like bad platforming is always noticeable if your guy doesn't do the thing that you want it to do, right?
Right.
Or the jumps aren't as accurate, or something's off. There's too much floatiness in what you do. And this one just feels pretty solid. The level design is really creative. I love, like, so far what we played of the dentist's mind and Agent Hollis's mind, right?
Right.
Of the casino themes and how that, gets interwoven with personal narratives and also mental, not mental fatigue, but mental
addiction.
Consciousness.
It's more represented like the gambling in those levels is represented as an addiction,
right,
or an emotional escape for her, which is very interesting,
right? And then the dentist, it was all about fear and keeping secrets and things like that, and how that twisted the mind and the way that the levels of war, being twisted around as well. I thought that was cool. It's very, very beautiful. On the Series X, it looks amazing. The colors pop, and those colors are popping on the TV.
I can't wait for the what is it, the Series X streaming graphics?
Right,
that's gonna be pushing my Xbox One to its limits.
But yeah, I just been loving it, and I love the characters. I thought they have a great cast of voice actors.
Yeah,
they brought everyone back. Sasha is the same voice actor. You got the guy who did Invader Zim as Raz.
Right,
lots of different characters that I know are part of that, like that Nicktoons lineup, right?
Yeah.
Of characters that voice people.
Did Tim Schafer do Death Jr.?
Yes.
Is that his too?
Yeah, back on the PSP.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was
a fun game too. I played that one too.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. I haven't played that many Double Fine games.
Yeah.
But I know them, like Death Jr., Brutal Legend, Psychonauts, Broken Age, things like that. They have a pedigree.
Yeah.
And their main pedigree has always been like, let's make something fun but meaningful. And sure, sometimes that doesn't sell like the mass market number of copies.
But that's not what they did in the beginning. They
got bought off, but they got purchased by Microsoft. And I think for them to be able to creatively do things like this without having to worry about selling copies, it's kind of cool because now you can get to see like, hey, let's have more fun with this.
Yeah, but I think that's not what they're trying to do to begin with. Like a game like Brutal Legend, for example. It's a game made for metalheads.
Right.
I mean? Like it's not
a mass market game.
That's never been an extremely broad appeal. And you have that game came out in 2010, 2008, 2009. I don't remember exactly, but you have a bunch of 60-year-old rockers. You know what I mean? Playing these metal gods. And it's like, I don't think it was ever meant.
I mean, things can become mass market out of nowhere. I mean,
sure.
The whole Guitar Hero era just came out of one game, and then that was a multi-million-dollar franchise and period of time in gaming that is straight up just dead now.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
and what's funny is that music stores were struggling before those Guitar Hero games came out. They were struggling. They weren't like making money. There was everybody wanted to be a DJ back then.
Yeah.
And then those games come out, and then suddenly music stores start doing
I bought a guitar to see if I can get into it,
Yeah.
Yeah.
But,
it works.
but Psychonauts 2 is a lot of fun. It's like, it just reminds me of like the pure enjoyment of like just playing a video game like when I was a kid, you know what I mean? And it was just like, this is fucking cool, and then the floor shifts around you, and you get a new power, and then you got to go to old locations to traverse it with a new power.
Get every collectible, try to find, now that you have a power, go back and see if you can
see what was out of reach before because you didn't have the power then. Excuse me. It's just like reminds me of like the golden age of gaming for me, which was probably like the PS2 era. You know what I mean? So it's a lot of fun. I can't wait to finish it, but I also want to savor it. So we're gonna be tracking our progress here on the podcast. So me and Kevin will be checking in until we finish it. So we're going to try to kind of stay on the same pace. But so far, so good. Highly recommended.
What do you think of Raz? What do you think of the cast of these characters that you're jumping into? Because you can clearly tell that they know each other, but then they're also introducing new characters like the students the interns at the Psychonauts headquarters, Agent Forrester, which is Hollis, being a new character into the fray.
What I notice immediately is that the characters are so colorful that I know that they each, I'm sure there's new characters in it. I don't know because I never played the first one. Mm-hmm. But the characters that have history, because of that refresher in the beginning, I'm kind of like, I don't think you have to play part one. I don't think you have to play part one. You
can really jump into this one, and it's a good entry point. Yeah, and if you want to go back, it's there. It's on Game Pass.
If you want more,
yeah.
If you want, I downloaded part one, by the way. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I have it ready. As soon as I finish part two, I'm gonna go back. But
just so you know, in part one, I don't know if they still have this, but one of the developers put his girlfriend's picture in one of the levels. But you have to kind of like bend the camera in a certain way, in a certain angle towards the end. It's one of those like Easter eggs that happened back in G4 TV. That would show you, there's a secret little Easter egg here.
God, I remember that.
Back then when they used to put more Easter eggs into games. I feel like a lot of games don't do that anymore. I would feel like this one does. And not to say that they're dead. I mean, there's plenty of games that have history. It's freaking Fortnite has like all these Easter eggs whenever there's like a main event, like the whole Mandalorian part or the whole Predator part before they were introduced into the game. There was like little tidbits of like, something's going to happen. There's like a Predator track right here, things like that. Those are always fun, but you just don't see them as much as often. But anyways, going back to Psychonauts, it's a great entry point. So far, it is really colorful. I feel like it's a platform that's fun in itself as a good action platforming game, but also has like these fun messages, good jokes, clever writing, things like that really personify what this game's about. And it's about going into people's minds and just seeing how people tick, or at least certain characters tick, right? And showing you like an image, like you said in this when you go into Agent Forrester's head. Forsyth's head. She has this whole gambling addiction that Raz straight up, put in her brain.
He exploits too to kind of get them to go on their first mission,
right? And then he learns, permission, what it means to violate that trust, and the fact that she wasn't like super like, how dare you do that, blah blah. I did something like this before,
exactly. And then it exercises that kind of compassion, or it shows kind of that compassion of like when you've made a mistake and someone else makes that mistake, to show them the compassion you wish you had at that moment.
Exactly.
And I think that was a really telling like character bit for her, where she's like, it's cool. You seem to have learned your lesson. I've done something, and the person I did it to is worse than I am right now. It's like the crazy guy.
Yeah.
Oh, that's where I'm at. I'm where you get the bacon.
Oh,
yeah, I got the bacon. Yeah. Is that where you're at?
I haven't gotten that part.
Okay. But like immediately, once you get to the campus, you get some bacon, and then you can like summon some guy. Okay,
talking about the campus, but yeah, it definitely gives you that mentality, right? Of going through these levels, figuring out these narratives, and like you mentioned, it's such a great point of compassion. Where it could have just said like, "Don't do it again." Then that's it, right?
Or they could have punished him, taken away his internship, which is what they wanted. They were going to expel him,
depower him, or whatever, right?
Yeah.
But I like how this game again, it just has clever writing where it's not that type of game. There's something that not akin to real life, but like if someone makes a mistake in real life, you teach them to a better path, a better way. Let them, hey, just don't do it again next time.
What's
and
a healthy
forward.
Way?
Yeah.
What's a healthy way of dealing with it? I love the enemies too.
Right, they're so super clever. Yeah,
sensors, bad ideas,
regret that's weighed by 1,000 pounds. Like I thought that was so cool, and the way that they introduced them,
it was so cool, man. And then the boss fight with the octopus was freaking great.
Lady Loctopus.
Yeah, that was great.
Yeah, super colorful. I love. I just think that all of that was such. Just well done. And it was fun how it led up to it too. Like suddenly these students start to disappear as you're progressing. And like, what happens? And then one of the scenes you see a tentacle grab them. You go, okay, I see what's happening now. Like that lead up to it is fun.
not in the gameplay, but kind of in the feeling, like the emotion I had playing it. It reminded me. It was reminiscent of a Little Big Planet. You know how Little Big Planet? It's like there's not really enemies.
No,
you know?
It's more, you're just going through an adventure.
You're just having fun.
Yeah,
you know, going through some adventure, and that's how this one feels. There are enemies, but it's more like it's just all the stuff that's happening around the story, everything, it's just rooted in fun. Right. You know what I mean? So the game is fun first.
Yeah.
And then all of this stuff happens. And like with anything I feel that I've played from Tim Schafer, it's always earnest. Everything's always, you know, like there's a reason he takes so much time to develop these games.
Yeah, you know and I mean? And they're really good at their craft, and it pays off in droves. You can tell that they put a lot of love into it. Yeah. Because I don't know if you remember, even back on the PlayStation 1 era and the N64 era, platformers were all the rage during the early 90s. And there were so many carbon copies of other games that just had no soul to them, you know?
Right.
They were just platformers for the sake of being platformers.
Mario 64 clones, Crash Bandicoot clones.
I used to play this game called Croc. It was a fucking alligator.
No, I remember Croc.
Yeah.
I remember
Croc. I loved it as a kid, but it like when you can put that next to a Mario that has creativity and imagination, Croc was just, again, by the numbers platformer. It was
just a Croc.
Now we just have by the number shooters.
Yeah. You know? Or now Battle Royales. But do you remember Blasto from PS1?
No, I never played that one. I know the name. I've never played it though.
It's another like a clone, but it's a little bit more grown up. It's like I don't remember exactly what, but you have a gun, but you're like a third person little man running around. He's like all jacked, like steroided out. It was like a 3D version of Earthworm Jim if it wasn't Earthworm Jim. It was just some blonde guy, you know?
I wanted to pose you a question. Talking about platformers, talking about Psychonauts 2. Psychonauts 2 has two type of currencies, right? You have the little crystals the purple ones that you can spend on, and then you can see all the little thought bubbles or all the little thought imagination drawings, whatever you want to call them.
Right.
And you collect both of them. Can you make a platforming game without some type of collectible? Like, do you think it takes away if you couldn't collect anything in the game, you just go straight through it? Do you think that takes away from the experience?
Not necessarily, because if the platforming was the way in which you traverse to your next objective, you know what I'm saying? Then you wouldn't need a collectible. But if what game? I'm trying to think of that heyday of platformers. Do you remember Batman Vengeance?
No. I never played that one.
That was a platformer, and I don't remember the pickups or like any like collectibles.
Yeah.
I'm sure there were, but I don't remember them off the bat. But I remember them off the bat. Dad jokes, even when I'm not trying. No, but I remember that some of the way to traverse the world was to platform. You had to go through certain things to get to the next area, you know? And every time you pass by that, you had to do that. You know what I mean? So I guess in that case, if it's traversal to keep the story moving forward, then you can kind of forego the collectibles. But the collectibles are kind of fun. Yeah. And, like for exploration to kind of get you, you know,
even skill. Like one of the best examples I can think of is the Riddler trophies in the Arkham series.
Oh yeah.
Like some of those you need skill or know how to get those certain trophies, try to figure it out.
Yeah.
I thought that always brought up some creativity that you could do in the game. Right. Something that just adds a little extra to it, you know?
Yeah. It always adds some exploration, and also even exploration of your skills where you wouldn't use them normally in that way in the middle of combat, you know, but you're using them that way to get to the collectible, or to get to the next area, you know.
It reminds me of I told you I had beaten Jedi Fallen Order again, a new game plus. I missed a ton of collectibles. I have everything now. I 100% in the game.
Wow.
But even going back and getting everything I had missed, there was a fun moments where I had, again, the game is not like super like traversal, and it's not a crazy platformer. Yeah. But there were platforming parts you had to do to get certain things or certain collectibles in the area.
You have immense freedom in the way you traverse the world.
Right.
Like you don't have all this crazy freedom.
Right.
But
there were places you can explore. Exactly. Or things you can miss.
The level design in that game, in my opinion, is one of the best. Like it's so fucking cool.
Very well thought out worlds, not open worlds, but like they're linear. But the map, when you look at the map and everything, that gets
so fleshed out. It's really nice. The first thing I noticed on that game was like, wow, these levels are very well done.
Mm-hmm.
Like each planet had its own vibe, had its own feel. But yeah, Psychonauts.
Yeah. I was just saying, like, I just like that this game has collectibles. It makes you go back, like, once you unlock certain powers to get those collectibles. But I was just feeling a little down on the collectibles because they just don't seem that meaningful. But I always like that challenge of how do I get that?
Right.
And how do I get there?
No, there's been a couple of moments in the game where especially getting closer to Hollis's to the boss, the octopus boss,
Lady Luctopus.
yeah or even the pinball game,
the pachinko machine,
where you give her the pill and you have to put her heart in the right place and stuff, where where you have to connect the thought bubbles, so there's some parts where you turn around and there's more connections.
Right.
So like, and that's a whole little area, you know what I mean, to explore. So I did find myself like just getting stuck exploring using the new powers and even when I got the fire, the pyrokinesis, I burned every frame that was in the level. I burned every frame down to see if there was a passage behind it, and I'm sure I missed some. I'm sure I missed some.
But that's the fun of it, that you can do that, and that makes you want to explore, see what else you can do.
The powers are so cool. Like, it's almost like I have my powers that I use, and I have one that I interchange. How do you have your powers?
I have my main three: the ball, the telekinesis to grab stuff, and the fire. And then the other one I interchanged, the clairvoyance with the thought connecting one, and then with the shooting gun one.
Yeah, the mind blast.
Yeah.
So I have my telekinesis, like my
the grab.
Yeah, the grab. I have that on RT. I have the mind blast on RB.
Okay.
And then I have the bubble on LT.
Yeah.
But then LB, I change it out.
Gotcha.
Based on whatever it is that I need.
Gotcha.
I try to keep the
same setup, just RB and left LB are reversed for me. So my LB is my mainstay. It's always fire, and then the RB is whatever I change it to.
I see. I like the fire a lot.
Yeah.
But on some enemies it doesn't quite work. Like the sensor guys, the jacked sensor guys. It doesn't work on them.
You just gotta dodge them and then hit them.
Yeah. With those guys, what I was doing is I would grab the bombs that the bad ideas would spit at me.
Yeah.
And I would grab the light bulbs and then throw them at those guys.
I love how the light bulbs are bad ideas.
Yeah, they're red and they explode.
It's just fun little things like that,
Yeah, no, you could tell that a game like that doesn't get made unless it's a labor of love. And when you just see someone being creative, or anybody, it could be a musician, it could be a film, it could be anything. But in this case, it's a video game.
Yeah.
When you see someone doing something they love and they're doing it well, and completely unbridled and just pouring their heart into something, it always comes out good.
Yeah.
It always comes out, it's always all the creative juices aligned to make something really good.
I always feel like Double Fine is a AAA developer, even if they haven't sold that. Not that they don't sell games, but they never sell to that level of like multi-million-dollar franchises, right? But usually you don't see that type of creativity other than the indie space now, because the big top dogs, they're not going to take chances. They're going to stick with what they know and what's safe, right? Yeah. But I love that Double Fine is in a middle space where they have the resources of a AAA development studio, but still have the heart of like an indie studio,
Right. No, it's really cool. I can't wait to get through it. What else have we been playing?
Okay, let's talk about Marvel's Avengers War for Wakanda expansion.
Let's talk about it.
Let me start first, okay?
Sure.
As an expansion to this game, it's great. It gives us a creative new biome, right? We have Wakanda. You have a brand new base, which is what's the name of the place? Irbazina? Irbazinum?
Yeah, I forgot.
But the location, your base, right?
It's the capital of Wakanda.
The capital of Wakanda.
And you're in the palace.
And I think that is great. This game really needed a different scenario and different settings, and we got it in this expansion. Yeah. You definitely did feel like it's not a long expansion. I would say it's about maybe 6, maybe 5 hours to complete, right?
Yeah.
To complete the main story of Black Panther and how he, joins with the Avengers and the story with Shuri and everything that's happening with Claw.
Yeah.
I think that entire story structure was great. Avengers shines its best when it's doing its story portions, right? The parts with Taking Aim, Future Imperfect, the parts with Monica and not the Cosmic Cube, right?
Yeah.
Those story moments is when Avengers shines, and I think that they really did hit it out of the park with this expansion to bring more story moments, adding a brand new character for free. Remember, and this is a free expansion.
That's important.
You don't have to pay anything for this expansion, and you get these moments where you love being Black Panther. You get a different Okoye, you get a different Shuri, and different relationships and how they interact with this version of the Avengers that Crystal Dynamics has made. Now, with all that said, though, again, it's a 5 to 6 hour thing. Once you're done, it's still the same problems that we've been having this entire time. That, yeah, sure, you can level up the character, right? Get to 150, blah, blah, blah. But after that, what is there else to do? Because you burn, through the content so quickly.
There is a level of entertainment for me going back and playing all the familiar locations, but with Black Panther.
Right. How he breaks the game, or how does he add to the immersiveness?
How does he just move in that world that I'm familiar with? But you're right, man. It's back to, as soon as you're done, it's back to the glitchy mess that it was before.
Back to corridors.
Back to giant open spaces with nothing in it,
I wish well, what did you think about the Black Panther though? As you're playing through the story, what did you think of the voice acting, things like that?
I thought the voice actor was great. It was
the guy that does Kratos in the new God of War game.
Yeah, he was in one of the Stargate or some of the Stargate shows. I thought he did a great job. It felt like T'Challa, but a different T'Challa. You know what I mean? It didn't feel like
older, seasoned.
Yeah.
A little bit of pepper.
Yeah, salt and pepper. No, but it just felt like a different T'Challa, but it was still in the essence of the character, and the voice. I thought the voice was appropriate for the way they made him look. I thought the design was cool. What else? I thought the way they did his specials his heroic moves were so. I like the spear. I like
spear's cool.
I like the upgrade of the buff. The beads, I'm a little on the fence. Maybe I don't have them dialed in the way I should.
Because you can have them attacking beads or as recovery beads. I never use them as recovery beads.
Here's the thing. You could have them as both simultaneously. So you could, if you hold it, it'll be recovery. And if you tap it, it'll be attack.
No, I know. Yeah. But you can only have one at a time, though.
Right.
I never use recovery beads. I just go straight up attack beads.
I have
or recovery. You could have recovery beads with some attacking, attributes.
Yeah. You could have the recovery beads shoot like bolts of electricity or something like that. But I thought his moves were great. The combos are really fun. It reminds me of a lot of like the weight that Steve Rogers has or Captain America has, and then the speed that Black Widow has. Like if you married those two characters. Excuse me. I felt like he kind of sit in there, you know what I mean? Which was awesome because I think he's my favorite right now. He's like the one I'm gonna like main.
These later characters are definitely more fun. I'm not saying that the base characters aren't good either. No. But I feel like I had talked to you this on when we're playing online and playing together. How I worry that as you're getting more characters, the old cast just isn't as fun or as interesting anymore.
I don't think so, as long as they're able to. You have those champion levels, which adds a level of like my Thor. He's the one I have furthest developed in the champion levels. Yeah. Even more so than my Cap when Cap was my main. But I just hadn't played Cap in a long time, so they released the champion levels, and I was still working up my Thor.
But champion levels just give you increases in what you already have. What I meant was the gameplay, like what you do every time to fight.
I see.
I feel like you said, like Black Panther, Hawkeye, and Kate. Even though they're more similar to me, Hawkeye and Kate.
They are,
but they're really fun. Like their abilities are fun. Their combo systems are fun.
Right.
And Black Panther's all about absorbing damage and releasing it in a burst. Right.
Yeah.
I like those cool mechanics. I just feel like, as we get further along, I hope that they eventually go back to the original cast and revamp some of their skills too, because otherwise it's just going to start to feel a little stale. Because for me, Hulk still doesn't feel that great. Like I feel like he's very, very bland, and you shouldn't be that way,
Yeah, not when you're the Hulk. But I don't know. I gotta go through Hulk, but I don't feel that way with Cap or Thor. I went back.
No, Thor is great. I think he's good. Yeah. Kamala's great. I love her combo system. Black Widow. I have so much fun with Black Widow.
My favorite of the original are Cap and Thor. Okay. My favorites of the original, but Kate was my main for a little while. Then when my main characters coincided with their release. Yeah. With the release of the DLC character. So when Kate came out, I played her for a bunch. When Hawkeye came out, played with him, and now with Black Panther, it's like it's dope because it's like Captain America, but on just lightning fast, So it's a lot more fun. I'm hoping with the introduction of Crossbones, we're going to get a new villain sector coming in soon. With the Super Adaptoid event ending in a few days, that's going to get worked into a villain sector, and we're not going to have this thing where it's mandatory 4-player co-op. It's like, come on, man! I'm supposed to find 4 people that play this game. You can't fucking find 4 people. You know what I mean? Like fucking Crystal Dynamics can't find fucking 4 people that fucking play this game. So like.
Yeah, because you have to be some of the hardcore people to be playing at that level at this point in the game. How you
find them, fool? like I'm supposed to find them? Try some fucking shit. No, so that bothered me. It's kind of dumb.
Do you think we're judging this game too early? Do you think we've already seen everything they had to offer with this expansion?
No.
Because
how many games last longer than a year to get their shit together?
Lots of games, but a lot of games don't get past that year 2, or they don't get to year 2 either.
Well, we'll see in a month or two.
Look at Anthem. Anthem fucking just died just a couple months after that.
That was harsh.
And they said they're gonna work on it for a year. Guess what? They cut their losses. You know what? It didn't work out.
I see what you're saying. I cut you off. What was your question? I cut you off.
I was gonna ask you. Do you think we're judging it too quickly and people just burn through the content? Do you think there's actually more in store in these coming weeks? Because the only reasoning I have for that is that Destiny does a similar thing where they'll release a big patch or a big content release, right? But then they'll start putting in more story stuff throughout the weeks and slowly start building to a big point in between, building to big points. But I say that Crystal Dynamics hasn't done anything like that. All we have are just little events in between big releases.
Well, we've had the Cosmic Cube. We've had the Super Adaptoid event. Yeah. Granted, it's practically unplayable to us because you and me are the only fuckers I know that play it. Yeah. But I have a hard time imagining that they're gonna bring in Crossbones for a cameo. Right.
That's what I'm saying. Do you feel like they're gonna add him as a villain sector in about 2 to 3 weeks, things like that?
I hope so. Yeah. I hope so. That would be. I would hope that, and then even like a claw villain sector would be dope, but not the Sonic claw, like the OG claw. Another change I wanted to mention is the character customization screen. What do you think of that? What do you think of the changes
for the UI? Yeah. I love the change. How to say this? It gives it more of a streamlined look, right? Where you see everything on one screen now, which I think is great. Yeah. Too many tabs, right? Too many tabs for skills, takedowns, what outfit you have on. Right. I like how they made it more cleaner and put it all pretty much on one screen, right?
Yeah, like a rap sheet.
Like a rap sheet, and you could see where your challenges are, how many comics you have, like everything. There's a lot more information on the screen. One thing I don't like though is that it takes longer to delete stuff, like your gear. You have to go to 2 button presses more than what you did before. Before, you would go straight to the gear, dismantle it. Now you have to go to the gear, go to the dismantle menu, and pick each one and then dismantle it. Oh. I feel like I just hate things like that because it just means that they added an extra step, and I hate when they add extra steps to things that didn't need it.
Well, there's a if you hit A, you go into a menu where you see the gear and you see you're currently equipped.
And you have to press X to go to the dismantle menu.
But if you press X immediately from the character card, you'll go into the dismantled immediately. Mm-hmm. So it'll skip that step.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. So if you go over it and just hit X, you go immediately to the dismantling page without seeing the one you have equipped.
Gotcha.
So it'll totally nullify that one. That one's like,
oh man, they need to communicate that more because I didn't see that.
It's in the little tile that appears. Because that's how I found out about it. But I did struggle with that. Not struggle with it, but it did annoy me. Yeah. Before I found out, I was like, "What the fuck? I have to do this." And then when you hit B to get out of there, then you go to the next menu, and then you go back to the. You know what I mean? So it's like, okay, guys. What I don't understand is that loadout thing.
Yeah, I haven't tried it out yet, and I don't. Is it working?
I don't think it's working.
Because I tried doing it, and I couldn't get a loadout to be built. But yeah, granted, I don't have a lot of crazy loadouts right now, but yeah.
I'm wondering if that's something that they're planning on introducing later.
I think so.
Or in the near future, where you have a loadout, and you can just have maybe like a drop down of your multiple loadouts for that character.
And do you need to have the gear equipped already for the loadout? I don't see that they added a restriction to delete items. So like, what if you delete an item accidentally from a loadout? You know what I'm saying? Like from one of the loadouts. I don't see any protection for that either.
Well, I mean, if it protects it when you're on the loadout, do you get? So like, if it protects it, when you're wearing it, then I would imagine it does that with the loadout.
I hope so.
But what I'm not sure of is if I'm using a piece of gear for one character, for one loadout, will I be able to use that for
on the other one?
Exactly.
Right?
What if I just want the same headpiece for all of my loadouts? You know, am I not going to be able to do that if it's being occupied by another one? I mean, I don't know how I feel about that. Like, that might be annoying.
Yeah.
But it also might just be me being a brat. You know what I mean?
I hope not, because that'd be annoying. At least I know for other games, like, I mean, it's an MMO, but Final Fantasy 14, you could tell which pieces of your gear are part of a loadout and which are not.
Okay. And can you use it for
you can do it for multiple.
Loadouts?
Yeah, that's fine. Because you don't have the same loadout twice. You're not wearing the same piece twice.
Right.
It's not like you have two different loadouts at the same time.
Yeah, that are existing at
So it just interchanges depending on which loadout you have. And if, let's say there's two pieces of another loadout you want to switch to, it'll just replace the other three and then keep the two.
So when you decide to make a new loadout, every bit of your gear should be accessible.
Exactly, correct.
I agree with that.
Now, so I like the UI changes. I think it streamlines and more, right?
It does.
The changes that they made, I want to say a couple months back about lowering how much XP you get. I'm gonna say that they were right on the money for that. Slowing you, because I'm a level 145 and I haven't hit level 50 yet. So I still have skill for Black Panther.
Me too.
So I still have
146.
Points. I have points to still put in it. And I think they were right about what they had said, that they slow down the XP progression so that way each point is more meaningful, and then you get to spend time with that, with the changes of that point that you just did. Like, I kind of have to give it to them that they were right, at least on that part, because a lot of people were super angry of why you making it harder to level up in a game that doesn't need that, when you have to level up multiple characters, you know?
I felt like I flew on my level progression on Black Panther. I mean, I got him to 145 in 2 sessions. This I wasn't even at level 50 when I was already in the hundreds.
Exactly. I think this is the fastest we've ever leveled one of these new characters to this. Even Kid and Hawkeye didn't level this fast.
Hawkeye was slow. Yeah. Man. Hawkeye was a grind. And I only have him at like 110.
And I don't know, is it because of the events we're doing? All the little quests? Is that pushing us with more XP?
It's also double XP month.
That is true. You're right.
And then I applied a modifier to give me 1.5 XP for like 3 hours or for 3 days. So last weekend, I'm doing double XP plus the 0.5 extra. Yeah, so that's probably why he was upgrading so fast.
But so far, at least for when it comes to upgrading and having, I still have points to still put in. But I'll be honest with you, now that I've pretty much gone through the game, gone through all the main stuff, I did already the weekend event, the Corrupted Vibranium weekly, or whatever you want to call it.
You did it with all your characters, or just Black Panther?
Just Black Panther and just the main thing. I wanted the nameplate. I just want the nameplate.
Yeah, I think I got that too.
Okay, so I kind of already I'm good until the next thing.
Yeah, I'm gonna go through it with all the characters in the Corrupted Vibranium thing. I'm gonna go through it with them. Just because I want to get exotic gear. I don't have much exotic gear for a lot of my characters. I keep dying at the end of the hives. So like Cap has exotic. Yeah, you've seen it. Cap has a bunch of exotic gear, but
we're like, what was it? Like we're like on the third to the last round that we needed, and that's when your Thor had died.
No, we were on the 4th floor of the
last round
of the 4th round.
Yeah.
So we just needed one more floor, and that's what and I was like, fucking shit. So I had to finish the last floor with Cap.
Yeah,
I was like, God damn it.
No, it happens.
No, I know.
And I got some exotic pieces from Black Panther, but I ended up getting that glitch where I have an exotic piece that looks exactly like this other yellow piece, a legendary piece.
I see.
And it's not that much of a difference. So like, what's exotic about this? There's sometimes you might get exotic pieces that don't give you anything special.
But they might just boost your heroic rating, right?
No, but again, that's what I'm saying though. This was an exotic piece with the exact same abilities as this regular yellow piece.
Okay, like all the numbers were exact.
It just had a little bit more stats. Like instead of the yellow piece had 2 stats, this one had 3 stats for the valor, precision, whatever you want to call it.
I see.
But the abilities should be something more incremental.
Right.
I got another exotic piece that increased my Bast chosen ability by 10%. See, that's great. Cool. That's 10%. Yeah. That's a big boost.
That's a long time. Yeah.
But yeah, I'm just I kind of feel like I'm already done. Like I like you mentioned, we've been trying to hunt for polychorons to level them up. But I'm like, with Psychonauts right now, with other games, I've been getting really crazy into Hades. I've been loving Hades.
Right.
That came out on Game Pass. We'll talk about that some other time. But it just feels like, you know what? I came for the expansion of War for Wakanda. I got what I wanted out of it. I got the nameplate. I got Black Panther to a high level. Sure, I haven't finished him yet. I still have levels to go, but for now, I feel like I can put the controller down until the next time, right?
I always check in with Avengers. Like I'll check in because it is a bad game. Like but it's fun. It's bad, but it's fun. I have all these problems with it, but when I play, it's almost like I can just space out and just focus on the combos and focus on my approach on how I'm going to clear out this room and it's just like I don't know why I like it, but it sucks.
No.
You know?
Avengers at its core is really well. It's very well done. The combo system is great. I don't agree with a lot of detractors that say it's just a button smasher.
Yeah, it's not.
It's not. When you get to higher levels, each character differentiates itself, right?
There's a rhythm each character plays.
Exactly. But the problem is great characters, great combos, great story parts. I think their story is top notch, but then there's just nothing in between. Yeah. What are you doing every day? What are you doing every week? You know?
Yeah, it's just villain sectors.
It doesn't have that pull that other games try to get you. Even Battle Royales have a battle pass. There's other things that pull you to play every day or every week, right?
Yeah.
This game doesn't have that. And War for Wakanda didn't solve that either. It gave us another great moment, a great new location, So as soon as I'm done with War of Wakanda, I have to go back to the same stuff we were doing 2 weeks ago or last week.
Right.
You know, like why can't we just be doing new missions in this new world? Why can't we level up missions that are from 150 to 160 in the war? You know, in Wakanda, like there has to be a progression.
Are they bumping up the cap?
I don't know, dude.
They said they were gonna bump it.
They did announce on Twitter that they are working on a roadmap, but that's worrisome that they're working on a roadmap because I think they're waiting to see. Are we gonna get the axe?
You know that the thing is this, man. I have a hard time believing they're gonna. It's not Anthem. You know what I mean? Where Anthem isn't an IP that has existed.
But this is an IP based on one of the most popular properties in the world at the moment.
I understand that.
And it's underperforming severely.
It is underperforming severely, but they have another IP coming out. They have Guardians coming out. And if they give Avengers the axe before Guardians even releases, I can't imagine that's good optics.
Right, exactly.
You get what I'm saying? I have a hard time if they're putting all their eggs in a basket with Guardians, that maybe we'll see some when Guardians comes out, we'll see some of that stuff in Avengers. Whatever works in Guardians, we'll see it, maybe come up in Avengers or something like that.
If Avengers doesn't work out though, it doesn't hurt Marvel's brand though, because Spider-Man was great. Guardians looks like it's going to be great too, right?
It does.
And then you have Midnight Suns coming out soon. Sure, that may not be for everyone's flavor, right? Like not everyone likes tactical RPGs.
Yeah.
But it looks like it's going to be fun.
Looks fun.
It like I feel like
the roster is really interesting.
There's enough Marvel games out there that will keep the brand okay. But if this fails, again, how do you fail a Marvel's Avengers game?
Yeah.
But it's not that like I told you, it's not that the game is bad. But if this was a single player, here's some expansions, here's some more story missions, you wouldn't have these expectations. But the fact that it's a live service game, it's a game that you're supposed to come every day, every week to play and be putting more money into it. It's a live service game. They want you to spend more time in that world, and at that part, it's failing.
But I'm just saying that I I agree with you on that, but I have a hard time them giving it the axe before Guardians comes out.
Oh yeah, I don't see that.
If they're gonna give it the axe,
it'll probably be next year.
It's gonna be after Guardians has run its course, and what I'm hoping is that the team, that Crystal Dynamics, can put something together by then.
Yeah,
it's enough time. The shutdown, isn't as prevalent as it was before.
Yeah,
and I'm hoping that whatever they had up their sleeve, whatever vision they had, they're able to realize it a little further down the line.
Yeah.
Sure, it doesn't look good. I'm 100% on that, but
it's not lighting the world on fire.
It's not, and I don't think it's going to. I think
this isn't this isn't the Destiny Forsaken moment.
Yeah.
This isn't a Realm Reborn, Final Fantasy 14 moment. This isn't No Man's Sky after a year of doing all these updates where now it's good and people are flocking back.
Yeah, that's not happening.
No, at least not yet.
This game. But the thing is, it might not happen at all. Yeah. But like I said, I just don't see them giving it the axe before Guardians comes out.
No, I don't see that. Yeah,
somehow put it all together before Guardians comes out, or in the time between between now and the time Guardians comes out, then maybe they can pull it together. Maybe they can save the game.
Yeah.
After Guardians has run its course, not immediately.
Yeah.
Because think about it, every publication that's going to be covering Guardians is going to be bringing up the
Avengers.
Shortcomings of Avengers.
Yeah. You already see it in several articles with War of Wakanda.
All the time.
I sent you that one article from Paul Tassi from Forbes.
Yeah.
And how if you don't know who Paul Tassi is, he's a journalist that writes about games as a service. He has experience in Destiny, War, Avengers. He's put 300, 400 hours in a lot of these games because one, he loves those type of games and that's kind of his beat. He's like the games as a service guy, right?
Yeah.
And he loves Avengers and he says that it just needs so much fundamental changes for the end game of what you're doing at the end of it.
Yeah.
And that isn't being addressed.
I think that the worlds are barren.
Yeah.
We need new enemies. We need new bosses. I think that there should be more bosses than there are Avengers. I think that they should that the way to get this game to to stick is, even if you play as Crossbones and you look at Taskmaster, they're not all that different.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Give us Claw, but with a different skin.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Who can work in that with that power set, or even if you alter it slightly. Same thing with Maestro, same thing with Abomination. And
Monica, I feel like Monica's villain sector was a really good direction.
It was awesome.
I want to see more of that. Yeah. Things where you have to be more creative than that.
And that could, with the reskin, could be Ultron.
Yeah,
you know
exactly.
what I'm saying? You throw a reskin, instead of Monica clones, you got Ultron bots. There you go. Like, if they just do the fan service in that sense, where it's like, just give us a variety of enemies. Don't, like, the aim thing is tired, man.
Yeah.
Like, the aim thing is like, nobody gives a fuck about aim. Throw some Hydra goons, throw some, like.
And that's what I loved about War of Wakanda, that they gave us new characters and new enemies to fight. But then once we're done, go back to freaking aimbots again. Like, no, I don't want to keep fighting these guys.
Why don't those enemies
interchange? Why aren't they mixed?
Or why don't they infiltrate other maps, old maps? But on a good note, the medicine man from Wakanda, you see him, you walk in on him talking to Loki, you walk in on him talking to Doctor Strange, you walk in on him talking to Wong. I walked in on him talking to Scarlet Witch.
That's cool.
That was cool. He was like,
it's like hinting future stuff if they get there. Hopefully they do.
So if they do Strange, and if they do, I want to see that Loki cult. Finish that storyline.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Give
exactly.
us that storyline.
I remember, 100%. What happened with that side story,
Yeah, give us that storyline, and they don't even need a new character. We just need a Loki. I think
you're on to something, though. We need more side stories. We need more side missions that give us like a little end piece, even if you have to repeat them. Because you gotta remember, in Destiny, I would do story missions over and over because you got special gear at the end of it, even though you already done them, and then you could choose which story piece you wanted to do.
Or even if they started trickling some Cap and Black Widow stories that allude to the Winter Soldier, and change the gameplay a little bit. Like give us puzzles the way that Wakanda did.
Yeah,
have us solve assassinations the way fucking like with you have to find this and you have to find that and put it all together, and then you take that back to the helicarrier. I'm not talking like Arkham, but I'm saying like where start planting the seeds. If you have a roadmap, start now. To get people hooked, because you're losing people. Yeah,
because this was your moment to like get people back. They did come back. People did check it out.
Yeah.
But then they're starting to fall away again.
But But, you know, on a positive note, War for Wakanda was positively received pretty across the board.
No, yeah. War of Wakanda was very well reviewed. People love it. They love Black Panther. They loved all the stuff that came with War of Wakanda.
Yeah.
It's just, you know, it's just the overall base game that's still suffering.
Yeah, hopefully they turn it around, man.
I want to put hope into Crystal Dynamics. I think they're starting to figure out, get their legs of what it means to make
an Avengers game. But
also a games as a service game. But again, in an age of COVID, like, unfortunately, they're the ones that have to do this while COVID is happening.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure they're not back at the office. I'm pretty sure they're also working remotely from home, and they had to figure out the communication and all that to get that done, right?
The logistics of it all.
Exactly. But either way, War for Wakanda did what it needed to do, at least for now, is it gave us a big chunk, brand new character, brand new area that we enjoyed playing in.
Right.
I just wish they gave us more stuff to do in that world and stay in Wakanda for a while.
But with Kate, Hawkeye, and Black Panther, if they can get that to maybe 9 characters total, you know what I'm saying? That's a sizable, you know, post-game content chunk right there. You know what I mean? If they can give us at least 6 more characters, you know what I mean? And then if they were able to do characters that were like for example, like what if through Iron Man you're able to do a skin change and become Rhodey?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? The way in like Injustice, you can go from Hal Jordan to Jon Stewart.
Yeah.
Or from Flash to Reverse Flash.
Yeah. And don't explain
where you don't need a new character. It's just boom, Rhodey's here.
Yeah,
now.
just do it. It's a fucking Marvel's Avengers game. Just throw shit at it. It's a video game.
Exactly.
But speaking about Avengers, we have one of the... Wait, is he Yes, he is an honorary Avenger.
Spider-Man?
It's Spider-Man.
Oh no, he was
knighted.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so we got the teaser. Is it a trailer or is it a teaser? It's a teaser trailer.
It seemed like a trailer.
So how did you feel about the trailer of Spider-Man No Way Home?
I mean, I felt nostalgic, man. Like it brought me back to like 2002, 2004, you know, like that excitement of they're making these movies now, you know, where before they probably couldn't make them, you know, because of the technology wasn't there, you know?
Right.
But now it's like seeing it all come together where they're making the Tobey Maguire movies and they're making the Andrew Garfield movies canon. That was really exciting. My favorite part was watching the pumpkin bomb.
Yeah, right.
And of course, Doctor Strange. Seeing Spider-Man and Doctor Strange in a movie together, for me, that touches like a sweet spot.
This is the fun part of Marvel that I've been wanting, and that they have hinted at, where you're gonna get cool team ups.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Like,
and remember the Marvel team up comic books, like from the 70s and 80s, and well, throughout all of it. But there were actual Marvel team up comic books, which was like their version of Brave and the Bold. Spider-Man and Doctor Strange were both Steve Ditko characters. They weren't Jack Kirby characters, right? So Stan Lee created both of them with Steve Ditko. I think Jack Kirby had something to do with the initial design of Spider-Man, but overall it was Steve Ditko and Stan Lee. So for me as a geek to like see the two prominent Steve Ditko characters in one movie, there's always been that relationship between Spider-Man and Doctor Strange because of that, you know?
And we had gotten a lot of, you know, there's always rumors and things flying around before these movie trailers come out. We knew Doctor Strange was going to be in it.
Yeah.
But it seems like he might have a good prominent role in this movie. Again, maybe the scenes we see him in, maybe all that's left of it. We don't know, right? Yeah. We don't know how expansive this movie is, but at least from what they've shown, it looks like Doctor Strange is going to be a good portion of this movie.
Yeah,
and,
hopefully.
And someone had brought up a good point, at least on like other podcasts and stuff, how Tony's gone.
Yeah.
And Doctor Strange might be like a new mentor to Peter.
That's true. That's true. But and just the range of scenes you see him in, it's hard to imagine those all taking place in the first act.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
I don't see that either.
Yeah, like, and if they do, great. But what I mean is they seem like they're throughout the movie. It makes you feel like time is going by.
My favorite part was obviously, come on, Doc Ock, hello,
Doc Ock,
Peter.
That was great. Man.
That was, like, not only because of what it means as a person who watched those Tobey Maguire movies growing up, and him being one of the better villains in that trilogy, right?
Yeah.
but also playing Spider-Man, Insomniac's Marvel Spider-Man.
Right.
He was the fucking main villain of that game, and again, it's just that connective tissue of the game doing an amazing version of it, and in these movies putting their own spin and bringing an original character back. Yeah. Like, that's just great, dude.
I'm excited to see what Sandman's role in it is, because it definitely looks like there's like sandstorms going on.
Yeah.
But the way you feel about Doc Ock is the way I feel about Green Goblin. Green Goblin's always been, I think he is the main, he's
the Joker to his Batman.
Yeah,
and Green Goblin's always been the main. Mm-hmm.
But I would say that Doc Ock is like the Two-Face. You know what I mean?
Right.
Where it's like it's the tragic character. At least in the movies, not in the.
I get what you mean. Yeah. I guess for me it would be more like Mr. Freeze, where like you sympathize with him.
I guess so in the movies. In the movies they made that work, but in the comics he was just a mad scientist.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So I guess he's a little bit more Mr. Freeze than.
Because I have a soft spot for Doc Ock after he did his Superior Spider-Man run.
Yeah.
Because I love that run.
Right.
Of him having to fill Peter's fucking shoes and see what he has to go through, and then they erased that. And he just became another villain again.
Yeah. No, but that was that. I'm excited to see that the design. It looks great. The tentacles are completely unchanged.
Yeah.
The pumpkin bomb is identical to the fucking Tobey Maguire movies. I'm a huge Willem Dafoe fan. Anything he's in, he just classes up the joint. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He, I think the last thing I saw him in where he played a large role was in The Lighthouse with Robert Pattinson. And he's just I just like watching him act. You know what I mean? So hearing that cackle and the pumpkin bomb land, I was just like, fuck, yes.
Plus, it's just fun going back to this world again of Spider-Man,
Yeah.
I was going to ask you, though, I feel like a lot of people are so hyped for this movie, not in the same way that they are hyped for Shang-Chi or the Eternals. Now, granted, brand new characters, they have to start off, right? They have to build that hype. But do you think Spider-Man No Way Home will take some of that thunder away from those two movies?
I don't know if it'll take thunder away. I think that those movies, the people that are going to watch those movies are going to watch those movies. Marvel fans, Marvel fans, people who I'm sure that Eternals is like, that's a huge there are comic book fans that are like tried and true Jack Kirby fans.
Yeah.
And the Eternals was Jack Kirby's brainchild.
Yeah.
You know?
And I'm excited because I feel like you said, the hardcore fans are gonna freaking go all over that. I feel like I hit my peak of my Marvel knowledge, and now I'm getting introduced characters that even I don't know.
Yeah,
know.
No, the Jack Kirby stuff though, even in DC when he went into DC and did the New Gods, that's the stuff that I like.
New Gods is tight. I remember reading with Barbara, Miracle Man, all the Dark Side people.
Yeah, there was it was Big Barda.
Yeah, Big
Barda, and then it was
I love Big Barda. I hope we get like an actual representation of Big Barda in the DC.
I'm hoping. I think I want to say that Big Barda is coming out in Zatanna, but I might be full of shit. I think I might be getting it confused with the character.
Because they canceled New Gods, right? They were
canceled New Gods.
Okay, they did cancel it. Never mind.
They canceled it. But yeah, either way, I'm excited to see that kind of that corner of the cosmic Marvel stuff, where Thor Ragnarok really absorbed all the Jack Kirby designs and stuff like that. We saw a lot of that in Guardians too, right. Guardians 1 and 2. So I'm excited to see more stuff with Eternals, but I don't know. I feel like people have already made up their minds.
Yeah, I'm excited either way. I just hope that they turn out better than what I think they are. Because for me, when it comes to origin movies of all the Marvel ones, for me my most favorite one was Doctor Strange, because it was the most unique among all the all the beginner origin stories.
Yeah, I agree.
Because they have he had a villain to fight at the end, but it wasn't a punching man. It was straight up I'm trapping you in a trap.
Yeah. It was a battle of wits.
Exactly.
That's what I felt with I did feel that with the Loki finale, not to bring it up again, but I felt
Don't get me started, Tito.
No. But I felt that it was that. It was a conversation, but it was a battle of wits where the protagonist lost. right? But I really did like, as an origin story, I did like Ant-Man. I thought that was a good first movie.
Yeah.
But it was a mirror image. The villain was a mirror image of the hero.
Yeah.
And that at that
how many
point,
times have we gone in that? You know,
at that point, it was a lot. You know what I mean? It was a lot of mirrored villains. You know, that we were getting in the Marvel movies.
Shang-Chi feels more like a family story, right? It really feels like that. Like it's about a son with his father and his mother and what that means in that family for them and what it means for their culture. Eternals is a little bit more iffy. It's not that I get a Guardians of the Galaxy vibe from it, but they have a lot of characters they have to introduce really fast and tell you the dynamics of this team, right?
Yeah.
I just hope that turns out well. I mean, because it's not James Gunn, it's someone else. Yeah. And unfortunately, James Gunn has proven that he can tell a multiple character story that you just barely got introduced to, you know?
Yeah. He knows how to get to the root of a character. He knows how to tell a lot about. He makes these fully fleshed out characters
in short amount of time. Look at the Suicide Squad that just happened. Yeah. People love the Polka Dot Man.
Yeah.
Who would have said that 5 years ago?
He's literally one of the lamest Batman villains.
Exactly.
And like the Condiment King. Remember him?
Yeah.
He shoots ketchup and mustard.
Calendar Man saying "fuck you" to both.
Calendar Man's pretty dope though. If you read like the dark stories, Calendar Man is dope.
I know.
Yeah, he like in a Long Halloween, Calendar Man's awesome.
Oh, that's coming out on an animated movie.
Oh, it's already out.
Oh, it is. I gotta watch
part 1 and part 2. But I want to see it, but I'm a little worried because I was not a fan of Hush.
I like Hush. I have that trade paperback somewhere. I don't know where.
No, I love the comic book, but the animated version of Hush.
Oh, I didn't see that.
They changed the ending in a way that to me was kind of like, why did you do that?
Okay, don't tell me because I haven't seen it. Yeah. But I'm down to see it.
Yeah.
But either way, it sounds like we're excited for Spider-Man No Way Home.
Yeah,
the effects of what the multiverse is. Yeah. Is this Doctor Strange? Some people are saying this may not be Doctor Strange that you know. It might be a variant.
Yeah.
Might be fucking Mephisto in disguise. I mean, everyone has been playing the Mephisto card ever since WandaVision started.
I don't think we're gonna get Mephisto.
I don't think so
until we get Ghost Rider,
right?
A legit Ghost Rider. You know, it
Are they doing a Ghost Rider or because I know we're doing a Blade.
I'm sure he's gonna come up eventually. You know, I'm sure Ghost Rider is gonna show up at some point. The thing with the Spider-Man movie, I want to see at what level are Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield involved?
Yeah, because we don't know anything. Andrew Garfield has publicly stated that he doesn't want to have anything to do with it. Yeah. But again, it could be lip service. It's not the first time people have lied about being in a role.
Absolutely.
You know,
and not only that, like they have you know like all the rumors are like it's all but confirmed that Tobey Maguire is absolutely in it, right?
Right.
So and I don't think I don't think you can have Willem Dafoe and Alfred Molina without Toby. I don't think that could happen.
If this is a secret Spider-Verse Into the Spider-Verse movie for the Marvel universe live action version, like I text you, what if Emma Stone came out as a Spider-Gwen? You don't know. We've already been introduced to that character in the animated show. And that would be a great
send-off for Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man, where his Gwen's dead, her Peter's dead.
Exactly.
And then they kind of hook up.
Right.
You know what I mean? In honor of their dead counterparts. You know? Right. So I think that would be and then that can open up a whole other storytelling thing. Then we can get an old man Spider-Man. We can get Miles Morales with an old Peter as Tobey Maguire as an old Peter mentoring a younger Miles Morales, or we can just wait for Tom Holland to age out.
Because we know that Sony wants to build their Spider-Man universe. Absolutely. They're doing Morbius, Venom 2,
Kraven.
They want to do their own universe and having it this way. What if they do spin off into like, hey, Emma Stone's fucking Spider-Gwen, follow her fucking adventures, you know?
They can totally do an Emma Stone live action Spider-Gwen. She looks like the character.
Yeah.
She's.
Sorry, I just have an Emma Stone crush on her.
Oh no, that's totally cool, man. I get it. I've had it since Superbad. No, but I'm excited for it. I want to see it. I think Tom Holland. I have a hunch that he's gonna finish this Marvel trilogy. Mm-hmm. Then he's gonna go back to Sony and then do a whole trilogy there while having Marvel characters dip into that.
I hope I love the story. Mm-hmm. I just hope it's not a complete nostalgia wank because we see how that turns out bad in other properties, right?
It could.
I wanted to play the right amount of nostalgia, but still be its own thing. You know, still moving its story forward for Tom Holland Spider-Man.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
like I want that.
he is the Spider-Man right
yeah.
now. Yeah, exactly. No, I'm with you on that. It's just like the.
But but give it to me, right? Like we want it.
And not only that, we didn't get a solid closure for Andrew Garfield or
Tobey Maguire.
We didn't get. So if this movie, if this movie can be that, and then it lets Tom Holland go on into a new Sony trilogy, where he's with Tom Hardy's Venom and with Jared Leto's Morbius, and he's in that world, I'm totally fine with that because we got him, and then he could just drop into the Avengers movies
every once in a while. Yeah,
I'm totally fine with that because I understand Sony has their intellectual property that they want to. They want
capitalize.
They don't want to keep sharing them with Marvel.
No,
but I don't. But
it benefits them to do it.
It absolutely does, and not only that, all the Spider-Man movies are coming out on Disney Plus in 2022.
Oh, really? So are we getting the old Spider-Man movies too?
I think so. Part of the Marvel Legacy shit.
Cool, because that's one thing that annoys me about Disney Plus is that we can't go back to the Spider-Mans, right, and watch them in order.
But for me, I don't think that they're getting ready to part ways. I think they're getting more embedded.
Yeah,
I think they're getting more embedded, and I don't see why Sony wouldn't hire Kevin Feige just to do it. You know what I mean? Like, come and do quality control on our movies.
Or even if Kevin Feige finds a protege that, who
can do it.
Who can do it on Sony's side,
Absolutely.
So we're excited for No Way Home. That's going to be exciting. Hopefully COVID would be handled by then. I doubt it, but I'm going to just, I'm going to go and just fucking double mask it. Whatever. I'm going to go watch this movie.
Wear a Spider-Man mask.
Again, Shang-Chi, I'm not sure if I'm going to go to the theater. Like, am I willing to risk that to watch that movie?
Maybe
but
Spider-Man,
I would definitely go see it for.
For Shang-Chi, risk it, maybe the drive-in. Go to a drive-in and just stay in the car.
Yeah.
I would watch it that way. But Spider-Man, definitely I'd go to the movies.
It just feels so weird that we're still like stuck in this position where like half the movies are coming out in theaters now and the other half is coming out theaters and streaming. Like it's just a weird mix right now.
It's a weird situation. It's almost as if like streaming services were primed for something like this to happen, for them to like, because that's been the competition, home entertainment and theatrical release. So like that's been the kind of tug of war since movies were able to be purchased. Like I think that really happened in the 80s when VHSs came out,
right?
And home video just became this huge booming market where movies that failed at the box office were making their money back.
Oh yeah, cult classics.
Yeah. Or
and then they'll make a movie because it was so popular, and then it fails again.
Yeah, straight up. Yeah, that's exactly what'll happen. They'll make another theater, and then it'll fail in theaters again, and then it'll boom in fucking. Yeah, that's a vicious cycle. But
I think that happened to Kick-Ass, where like Kick-Ass just blew up in home DVD, right?
Yeah.
And then they made a second one, and it failed, but then it blew up again.
Hellboy happened to Hellboy. It happened to Boondock Saints.
Yeah.
It happened. It happens to a lot of movies, man. But I do think that this was a turning point in the battle between home entertainment and theatrical releases and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens. I mean, they're gonna have to rethink everything. Who knows what they're doing? I know they're passing like.
Let me ask you a question before we jump to Goodfellas.
Yeah.
So we have this trailer, we have this teaser, we kind of know what's about. It's a multiversal introduction of what's happened in the shows, right?
Yeah.
With Loki and everything that's been going on, even with WandaVision, right?
Right.
How do you feel? Do you think people are going to get lost if they didn't watch those shows?
I'm sure that they're going to figure out a way to make it stand alone. I mean, if the movie's called Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, I'm sure they're going to explain it there. I'm sure they're going to explain it in and maybe it's not one event that causes the multiverse. Maybe it's all of them.
Yeah, it could be like this also, Doctor Strange fucking with the spell.
All happen at once and that's it. But I don't know. I think it would be wise of the movies to make it stand alone.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? But also just like with the rest of the Marvel movies.
Man, people are going to get really confused when they watch Captain America 4 and they don't realize what happened.
That's what I'm saying, But it's getting enough news coverage, I think, that it's becoming common knowledge. When you walk into Target and you pass by the toy aisle and you look and Captain America's black, I'm sure somebody's like, whoa, what happened here?
I got to watch that show.
Yeah, if you don't know already, you're going to be like, wait a tick.
If you know, now you know.
Yeah, if you don't know, now you know. No, but it's, I think... I don't know. I hope they make it stand alone because it'll just be smart. But if you watch the old shows, then it's just sweeter.
Yeah, of course. You know, it adds a layer to it.
Yeah.
So I hope it comes out. I think it's gonna be great.
Yeah,
Spider-Man movies have always had a good pedigree. I love the team up, Doctor Strange, the bringing back of old characters that we know might get introduced to a new generation of audience, younger kids who have never seen this Doctor Octopus before, things like that.
I'm wondering if Sandman's the same
who knows,
same actor
right?
too. Yeah,
we know Jamie Foxx is. We know he's confirmed to come back as Electro. Yeah, we don't know if Sandman is the same person.
Yeah.
Either way, I'm excited for it. Speaking about nostalgia, let's talk about Goodfellas.
All right. I had Kevin watch Goodfellas a couple weeks ago because he had never seen it. So when we talked about our Many Saints of Newark, what was that, episode 9?
Yeah.
Episode 10? We talked of the Sopranos movie coming up. A lot of the stuff taken in Sopranos is the Goodfellas characters, Goodfellas inspired, even the way the filmmaking is. So me and Kevin sat and we ordered Italian food and watched Goodfellas. So what did you think, man?
Yeah, so we watched Goodfellas that night. I thought it was a great movie. I've never seen a movie in this way, but just to preface it a little bit, I don't have a history of seeing many mafia movies at all. Like, I can't really. I think Goodfellas is the first one I've ever seen.
Well, you saw Departed, right?
I thought that was more of a cop movie.
There's mafia in it. It's like half cop, half mafia.
Cause and then We Own the Night. What was that? I thought
that's a gangster movie.
Like a gangster movie, right?
Yeah.
I felt like watching Goodfellas, right?
Yeah.
It just feels completely different from those two movies, at least in my opinion.
Yeah.
Like, it just doesn't feel like there's this, well, I guess We On The Night did have a family dynamic with the dad being the cop and him being the person in the drugs.
Right.
But anyways, the point is, this is like my first foray into like The Godfather, Goodfellas, any of these type of, or even The Irishman, any of these type of mafia movies. And it's brutal. It's like a brutal story. It tells you so much, and I felt like the time just flew by. You know what I'm saying? Because there was always like multiple scenes that were strung together. I think it's like a 2.5 hour movie, right?
Yeah, it's pretty long.
It's long, and I didn't feel that. It's just like straight, just beat to beat. You're following this person's lifestyle and the way that they grew up, and instead of just seeing how they grow as people and as a community of people who have to do like crooked shit to get what they want, right?
Yeah.
And I love how the movie starts off with this concept of power and respect, right?
Yeah.
And what that means to you as a person who grows up watching these people, right? As a youngster, right? Like, oh, these are people. These are people who know shit or who command respect, right?
Yeah, looking up to them.
Looking up to them. And then when you get into the nitty gritty of what he has to go through to get to that same level, and then all the shit that goes on, that comes with it, right?
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, he has, like you mentioned before, like he has really high highs, but then the dark stuff, like all the fucked up shit, really like brings it down to the level where like these people don't, or the people in this movie, in this mafia movie, they live in a fire and water type of life, right?
Right.
Where they burn brightly, but then when it cools down, it's like it goes really low.
Yeah.
And the low part is when people fucking get killed for stupid shit.
What I always and let me know if you agree or disagree, but what I always liked about Goodfellas is a lot of people won't watch gangster movies or crime, sagas like this because they think it glorifies violence, right?
Oh, no, I don't see that.
But where in Goodfellas, though, I think it intentionally does at first, because he's coming at it from the point of view of this youngster that looks up to these people.
And I totally got that.
And then as soon as it turns, and I think it was around the moment where they kill Billy Batts, where it turns and it gets ugly, and it gets really ugly for them, where everything from that moment where they kill that guy who tells Joe Pesci to get his fucking shine box, everything's downhill. Everything's downhill for them from that moment on. Not to say that there weren't ugly moments before or morally questionable moments before, but that's one thing I've always admired from Goodfellas, that it starts off, with that whole scene when they're going into the Copacabana and they're treating him like a king. They're treating him like he's Frank Sinatra,
Yeah.
But then after that, it just starts to get worse and worse and worse. And by the end of it, he has nothing. He's left with, what do you say, egg noodles and ketchup instead of spaghetti. That's what he says. So I feel like, yes, it does glorify the violence. It does glorify that lifestyle.
It's the seduction of that lifestyle in the beginning.
But it's taking you for that ride, and that's the art in it. It's taking you along for that. and then it shows you how it all unravels, how ultimately you're dead or you end up turning on your friends.
Right.
You know? But I don't know. That's just how I see it with those movies. I never feel that some of them do. And those to me are kind of crummy. I can't think of any right off the top of my head, but the ones that do kind of glorify it, they don't work. They don't work because they're always cautionary tales. It's always about biting off more than you can chew.
Yeah, because even if like drug running movies like that one with Tom Cruise that came out recently.
Yeah.
It's like you live this crazy world and this high, crazy, fast-paced life, but it always ends up the same way. You end up losing a lot.
Everything.
You lose everything.
Blow with Johnny Depp too.
But then some people love that lifestyle, and maybe that's what I think that's what they mean by maybe it might glorify it for people who are younger because they want to live that crazy life where like we're gonna have all these highs and the lows will never happen to me.
Of course, you know that's how everyone approaches it. Right? Yeah, everyone it happens to didn't think it could happen to them.
Exactly. I'll beat the system. I'll be the top dog where I live a crazy comfortable life at the end. Like nothing's gonna happen, and that's what happens to drug lords all the time in real life. Like they live this crazy life thinking they're untouchable until they're not.
Exactly. What'd you think of the cast?
I thought the cast was really great. Yeah. I didn't know Robert De Niro was in this. That was crazy. Yeah. I've seen so many of these people before in other stuff, and I didn't know that they. Because some of them were so young, I didn't know they come from this movie or that they were known from this movie. Yeah. I recognize a lot of the references now in pop culture media. Yeah. Like, was it the Goodfellas from Animaniacs?
Yeah. The God Pigeon.
The God Pigeons, yeah. And just so many other things. Like, I know that My Cousin Vinny guy was in this movie.
Joe Pesci.
And he also plays an Italian mobster in My Cousin Vinny, or he's just an Italian?
I think he's a lawyer.
Okay.
He's like a fast talking Italian lawyer in My Cousin Vinny. But he's like a kind of like a, if I remember right, he's not he's like a Saul Goodman in My Cousin Vinny.
Watching him in that one and watching him in this was like, holy shit.
Or
like,
Home Alone.
Right.
Or watching him in Home Alone. He's one of the burglars in Home Alone. So like you see him in a kid friendly movie and then you see him, you know, in this movie, you know, stabbing someone with a pen. No, that was in Casino. But Casino is like a spiritual successor to Goodfellas. It's a different story, but it's essentially it's worth a watch, but it is 3 hours long.
Yeah.
But again, it's same director, same cast. I think it's even same writers like that worked on it. So it's really good. It's just a different story with the same kind of elements. Yeah. You know, kind of like the way you know, you got like tacos and burritos, you know what I mean? Like it's the same thing, but just rearranged and you get a different product out of it. But Goodfellas definitely oozes style. Casino does too.
Yeah.
But Goodfellas is a lot more raw than Casino. Casino is a better movie in terms of it's a lot more polished. It's a lot more smooth, you know, in the way Martin Scorsese made it, you know. Mm-hmm. The scenes just flow better. There's not like continuity errors or you know what I mean, where one scene a guy's holding the phone to his ear, the next scene it's down, the next scene it's back up. Yeah. In Goodfellas, it's riddled with those mistakes. But you don't notice it because you're watching. The performances are so enthralling. You're so into the people. And when I watched the DVD when I was a kid, there was a behind the scenes featurette where Martin Scorsese wouldn't tell the people to act. He would tell them behave, just behave. Mm-hmm. And I thought that was really interesting. When you watch the movie, you're not watching people acting. You're watching people behaving like different people, you know, that they're not, you know? So that's why I think
Casino?
In Goodfellas.
Oh, in Goodfellas, yeah.
It's they're just embodying other people. Yeah. You know what I mean? Straight up.
Yeah.
They're just and they just behave. So that way when they're just behaving, they allow for these moments like the funny, you know, the whole funny how, you know?
Yeah.
That was all improvised.
Really?
You know? Yeah.
That's a great scene too.
Yeah, it's intense. It's like, oh shit, he's gonna kill his friend right now, you know? But that was improvised from a story Joe Pesci had, and they rehearsed it a little bit, and then they shot it. Mm-hmm. But it was all done on the spot, you know? So I think to
establish their characters and who these people are.
Or in what type of a world they lived in, where it's like, you know, you say the wrong thing, you're dead that night, you know, from somebody you've known your entire life. You know? So it's really brutal, but
I think part of it also gives it a lot of not levity, but sympathy for these characters is you get to see their lives with their moms, with their neighbors, like how they interact with other people. Sorry, I don't know the name of the character, the guy who kills a lot of people, the My Cousin Vinny guy.
He's
Tommy, how like he has a mom and his mom's like such a sweetheart and she makes him cooks him dinner, invites the boys to come eat. Like that's my mom, you know what I'm saying? Like they'll come in like, hey, come in, let's have fun, blah blah blah. And her boy is like this crazy fucking psycho killer. And like, does she know, or does she just keep it in the background, kind of like he's my boy, whatever he's doing is his business. But it's that dynamic where then you see that juxtaposed to who's the main character again?
Ray Liotta.
But his character name is
Henry Hill.
Henry. And then you see Henry's life of what his girlfriend wants to get married, and like what his family life is like at home, and how that happens
with his kids,
his relation to his father, and how that that ended up being progressed.
His brother in a wheelchair, all those little those details that really kind of make you feel these people are real. They're real. You mentioned his mom. And I always had that question of where she's at, but there was a really interesting part where he's about to get made, quote unquote, made. I made air quotes, where she's fixing his tie, and she's telling him that she's so proud of him. Yeah. So I don't know if that answers your question. Do you remember that?
About
when Joe Pesci is about to get made into the mob.
Yeah.
And he's getting ready, and Robert De Niro and Ray Liotta are at the diner, and they're talking about how Robert De Niro's ecstatic.
Yeah.
And it's like, one of us is getting made. We're going to be working for this guy. There's a short shot of him coming out in the suit at his mom's house, and his mom's fixing his tie, fixing his lapels, and she's like, "I'm so proud of you." And then he leaves. So that, I don't know. That's a crazy. That might answer the question. Maybe she knows the life. Maybe she comes from that life.
Right.
Maybe she's a mob wife herself.
Right. Who knows? But
who knows?
But I love that detail of like they could have just done without the mom scene, or even go to his house at all. He could have just been this character that has a short fuse, right? And just does all these things. But I love how they humanize each of these characters. Right. I feel like Robert De Niro's character doesn't get humanized in the same way. Right. Like you don't see his lifestyle, but again, we're seeing multiple people's lives in the story.
Right.
Sorry, I don't know the name of the guy, but the guy that gives them money at the end, he was with Paulie. Like, you see his lifestyle. He has kids. They invite him to dinner, things like that. Like, right. Like you mentioned, I love how these people live this crazy lifestyle, but at the end of the day, they're humans. They have to like pay their bills on time, even if it's with dirty money. They have to deal with their wives going crazy on them, because guess what? They're pieces of shit, so they're just cheating on them all the time. Like, these are real things that happen to people,
Yeah. It's very human, but human but brutal. But maybe that's that. Maybe that's the point.
Right.
Yeah. And I'm glad you dug it, man.
Yeah, it was really cool. I guess now, so there's only one Goodfellas then, right? There's no like multiple Goodfellas.
No, there's just one Goodfellas, but there's like a collection of movies that are all kind of in that same vein,
So do you watch? Sorry, because again, this is pretty much my first introduction to mafia movies, right?
Sure.
From here, I wouldn't mind watching Godfather and anything else that's considered in part of the pedigree of it.
I would go Casino next.
Okay.
Casino would be the next place I go, and then I would probably watch Godfather a little ways down the line, because Godfather's a lot. It's like, and the pacing is different. Where I don't mind. Like Scorsese movies, they're real rhythmic. You have like the soundtrack plays like 3 lines of a song, and then it gets cut, and then it plays 3 lines of a next song, and then it gets cut, and then it's like really active. Very, there's a lot of movement in it. Where the Godfather movies are really still and stoic, and they're not very violent until they're violent.
Yeah.
There's a lot of dialogue. You understand the politics of the mafia more in that movie.
Was there a moment in time where these movies were like popping, like there was just mafia stuff all? Because I kind of feel like this was like,
I don't know,
early 90s like era.
Well, early 90s it was because Scorsese was pumping them out.
Okay.
And then Tarantino kind of came in and did Reservoir Dogs and Pulp Fiction, which were kind of mafia movies.
Yeah.
But they're more like crime movies. But in the 70s, there was a lot of... so Godfather was from the 70s. then in the 80s, I can't really think of a mafia movie that stood out in the 80s. Everything was pretty straight-laced and cleaned up.
Yeah.
And pretty conservative in the 80s. And in the 90s...
Conservative in the 80s.
Right. I know, right? No, but in the 90s, the Scorsese movies got real wild, and then the Tarantino movies came in, and Tarantino kind of broke the mold on that, I would say, where it's like now there's crime movies about mafias, but it's not just the Italian mafia.
Yeah.
Now you have black guys telling, white guys what to do. You got old men telling young guys what to do. You have women involved. It's like, it shows you the whole, like, it's not just Italian guys in this world. There's an entire
triads. There's different stories that you can tell of just organized crime.
Like, just look at the criminals in Pulp Fiction.
Yeah,
you have those the sex gimps guy from the pawn shop. You have the main mobster, which is Marcellus Wallace, played by Ving Rhames. You have the dirty boxer. You have the hitman. There's so many. You know what I mean? There's the cleaner, Harvey Keitel, who plays the cleaner. Have you ever seen Pulp Fiction?
Yeah.
Okay. So you have like all these different characters that in an Italian mobster movie or an Irish mobster movie, you're not going to see that, Yeah. So I think the Tarantino movies, it opened it up a little bit more,
Do you feel like these movies, like the mafia organized crime movies, do you feel like they've gone to the wayside over the last couple of years, or do you think that kind of like I always tell my partner that there's always gonna be a fad, right? There's always gonna be things that happen. Right now it's the comic book fad. Everything's comic books. Everything's superheroes. But when those fall in the movie that is good, let's say like a good cowboy movie, right? Yeah. When they do come up during the different fads, like, oh, this is a really good one because it managed to rise up above everything else.
I think for everything though, you get like a cookie cutter of like we were gonna get into Dragon Ball Kai.
Yeah.
How many Dragon Ball clones are there, or offspring,
or just shonens that have been inspired by and created after?
So anytime something that is successful, everyone's trying to jump on that, because anytime something is successful, that might be the new hotness.
Would you I feel like, I don't know if this is wrong to say, but I feel like watching these mafia movies, like, oh, I could see the appeal of the Breaking Bad era of what people liked about that. It brought that to a more modern setting. Like, it's a guy who does drugs and has to get into this crazy lifestyle and know these people,
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's always interesting to watch someone,
the anti-heroes,
not just anti-heroes, but just morally questionable people. It's just, there's always,
like, they're good and bad.
Yeah, or just someone who does something that, where you're like, if you knew someone that did that, you probably wouldn't fuck with them anymore. You know what I mean? Like, I probably wouldn't talk to that guy anymore.
Right.
But like,
because like, if you're within, when it blows up, if it blows up, you're gonna be within. You don't want to be within range when that blows up.
You're gonna get sucked in too. So but I think there's something, like, it's the same reason people watch serial killer documentaries. Yeah. It's like, what puts a person there? It's not always just mental illness. No. Sometimes people are just bad. Yeah. You know what I mean? They just think that bad things are okay. Mm-hmm. So like, or
they like the power, the control, like watching Mindhunters, and just how some of these people, like, no, I love the intricacies of fucking doing this to women or whatever, and like, oh shit, like, that's crazy.
It's brutal, man.
Yeah, and because they're earnest about what they're saying.
You wouldn't lie about that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think those are the only times they're being earnest.
Yeah.
But I think that, like, I didn't finish what I was saying about the popularity, popularness, the zeitgeist, the popularity of gangster movies. I mean, I really think that if you go back to like the early days of cinema, there's always been crime movies. There's always been an appeal not to be like them. For me personally, I don't take it like that. It's what makes these people tick, what makes these people function, what makes these people make these decisions, So if, like, going back, we have, The Irishman, we have the new one on HBO with Don Cheadle and Benicio del Toro.
Oh, I gotta see. Is that The Irishman?
No. That's The Irishman's with Robert De Niro on Netflix. But it's called No Sudden Move.
So would you recommend, like, watching these movies now that I have, like, or should I, as someone who never really watched a lot of these movies, I have watched crime stuff like Pulp Fiction. I have watched things like that. would it be going like, okay, Goodfellas, Casino, The Godfathers, and then start watching more modern stuff to see how they've evolved the formula or have different takes on it?
Going for the classics is always good.
Yeah.
Going for the classics. But I think Casino is the next logical step. I would probably go back to some of the other Scorsese movies too. Mm-hmm. I would watch
The Departed.
The Departed. No, but I would watch even though it's not like a it's a crime movie, but it's not about mafia. It's about like child pimps, people who pimp out kids. Taxi Driver.
What?
Yeah,
that's what that movie's about.
Yeah, it's about a mentally ill guy who is watching all this debauchery happen. He becomes friends with a 13-year-old hooker. She is he tries to save her and he just goes apeshit on the entire at first he's unstable, so at first he knows he wants to do something, and at first he thinks that means to assassinate a politician. So he goes for it and he chickens out, and then he finds his true calling, quote unquote, when he decides to take out this girl's pimps and all the guys and all the Johns and everything. So he goes to the whorehouse and he just unloads on them, and that's Taxi Driver. So
that's crazy.
It's a crazy, because you're watching him go from just some quiet guy, just by himself talking,
minding his business,
and then the things he sees, they just start to change him, and they start to, and then he starts to become detached from reality. And then he gets to a point where he's just, no, I'm going to do this, Yeah. And it's wild. It's very wild. And that movie was 1976.
Yeah.
So you're watching really old,
So, but when was Casino made? Do you know?
That was after Goodfellas. So Casino was 95. Goodfellas was 91.
So shouldn't I watch kind of got mentioned now. I've been rewatching Star Trek. People recommended watch The Next Generation first. Watch a couple of those and then go back to the 60s.
I would say so, yeah.
So do that, watch the things that look more like modern cinema and then go back to the older ones.
Casino would be the next logical step. I would throw Reservoir Dogs in there.
I've seen Reservoir Dogs. Seen it? Yeah.
Okay. And then what else? Gangs of New York is really good. Mm-hmm. That's a really good movie with Leonardo DiCaprio and Daniel Day-Lewis. Also a Martin Scorsese movie.
Which is the Denzel one? Is that a gangster movie?
American Gangster?
Yeah, that one.
That's a good one. Yeah? That's a good one. But I don't remember that one being as memorable as something like Dead Presidents was an amazing movie.
Okay.
That was 95 as well. That's about a bunch of Vietnam vets that decide to rob an armored car.
And the newer ones like Irishman and the
Heat is a good one.
Okay.
With De Niro and Pacino.
Okay.
And Val Kilmer's in it. Heat's another great crime movie. It's another great mobster movie. Yeah. So there's a list of them.
Does Val Kilmer have a Batman credit card in that one?
Nobody has nipples. So we were okay. We'll talk more off the mic about where to go next. With our crime dramas, but that's going to be another area we explore. But Kevin, you had me watch Dragon Ball Kai, the entire first season in one weekend. Okay, it was amazing.
I wanted to show Rob and his brother Che the Dragon Ball series because I feel Dragon Ball is classic anime series. If you know anime, you know Dragon Ball. It's like one of the biggest ones that's recognized around the world. It used to be Speed Racer for a long time, but then Dragon Ball just blew that out of the water. I don't think anyone remembers Speed Racer anymore.
Not kids our age. No,
kids our age are still watching Dragon Ball.
Yeah.
Sorry, not our age. Sorry.
Kids our age.
People our age watch Dragon Ball. They showed it to their kids. Their kids are getting into Dragon Ball. I see kids on TikTok reenacting the Kamehamehas or wearing the Goku with Vegeta with the Supreme gear and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Because it's a series that's easy to get into, memorable, but has a long-standing history, right? Mm-hmm. A lot of shonen anime, which are action animes, come from Dragon Ball, and Dragon Ball came from something else too. It's not it didn't invent the genre; it's just an action series. But Dragon Ball, it was one of those ones that was super memorable. Watching Dragon Ball, because I'm pretty sure you growing up, you've seen parts of it, you've seen clips and not full seasons of the story, but I'm pretty sure you saw episodes here and there growing up, right? Now that you've sat down, I made we watch the first season or the Saiyan arc on Earth. After watching that season, after watching Dragon Ball, what did you think? going back to watch this older show that you've always known pretty much your entire life, right? Like there's no way you grew up in the 90s without ever hearing the words Goku, Vegeta, Super Saiyan.
Yeah, no, absolutely not. No, I remember a ton of people in school being about it. I just missed it just because I was watching other stuff.
Yeah.
And to be honest, I was watching Speed Racer.
Yeah. Hey, I love Speed Racer.
I would watch like Toonami on Cartoon Network, and I would watch like the reruns of the older shows. I was like the old Hanna-Barbera shows. I'd watch the old like G-Force and or Battle of the Planets and Voltron and things like that. Robotech,
He-Man,
yeah. But it was a lot of fun, man. I really enjoyed it. It was I could see when I was a kid, I tried to follow the Majin Buu story.
Okay.
And it took forever, and that's why I stopped.
Yeah.
And I can see where Kai, like the rhythmic condensing in Kai is more it has more appeal to me now. You know what I mean? Where it's like it's just straightforward. Even some parts, even though it's reduced, some parts did seem long. Like Goku's training when he dies, after beating don't tell me Raditz. Yeah. After he dies from sacrificing himself to defeat Raditz, he goes and he has to do this whole thing, go through this giant like Great Wall of China in heaven. You know what I mean? And he has to walk the Serpent Trail.
Yeah.
And that seemed to take forever. And Kevin let me know that there was more to it.
Yeah.
So I can imagine that,
like him falling off, going to hell, doing all these many weird people on that trail.
Yeah. Part of me wants to watch that. Like I would like to watch that, but just watch that. You know what I mean? Like when I was just trying to get the main story going.
Yeah.
When he's training on that little planet, with a ton of gravity.
King Kai's planet.
Yeah. A lot of that was great, but like I didn't like the cricket. The cricket just seemed out of place to me.
Like a fairy character.
Yeah, or just
what's the name of that little alien guy in Flintstones?
Gazoo.
It feels like that, doesn't it?
Like from a different series. Like something from a different series showed up into this show. But overall, I love the whole fight when he got back. I love that he wasn't the one to defeat Vegeta, that it was Gohan and Krillin. Yeah. So
a lot of these fights, people think that Goku is like the main guy beating all these guys, and for the most part, some of that is true. Yeah. But a lot of these fights that happen isn't because of him.
He's integral to the victory. But I did like that it kind of like shows the weaker characters moments of strength, and I think that's a good message to send people, where it's like, it really pushes the value of teamwork
and just having friends and building a relationship and bonds, because sometimes it takes a team effort to overcome something,
where the sum becomes greater than its parts, right? And that's definitely what comes out of this. So I like that. I really liked the what is it called when they went to Kamek? Namek. Yeah. So when they went to Namek, I really liked that whole sequence of them going back and forth. You start to almost recognize landmarks because they're going back and forth looking for the Dragon Balls. And you start to recognize, oh, that mountain was, where that character was at, and that's the river that this happened, and they give you a really good sense of geography when they're traveling and collecting the Dragon Balls. I think Gohan has his own, and Krillin has his own. And this whole time, I think Goku...
Multiple different parties. Frieza's party. What's Goku doing? What are Krillin and Gohan doing?
Vegeta has his own
thing. Has his own storyline.
And then Bulma has her own thing going on at the same time. What was the
little boy?
No, the pretty guy that turns into a lizard frog.
Oh, dang.
You know what I'm talking about, right? Yeah. The green hair.
Dang, I'm so ashamed I don't remember right now.
Sure, man. We'll add it in post. No, but I thought it was really cool. It was real fun, real creative. Like I get the appeal. I think that if I would have seen Kai at a younger age, I would have appreciated it a lot more. Just being younger, like having those sensibilities, Yeah. But it was still like I have my criticisms, but I'm also like, no, that it's. So
what are the criticisms? Because again, as someone who you finally sat down to watch this series, straight up, I'm following the story and these characters.
It was more in the voice acting.
Okay.
Like some of the voice acting was a little, screamy, a little shouty.
Well, let me tell you, this entire series is about
that's what I'm saying. Like there's got to be a separate emotion rather than just shouting. Happy, like goofy or shouting, you know? Mm-hmm. So like, you know, I thought that, you know,
I think if you're a Dragon Ball fan, you're in for that, because that's kind of one of its defining features, because not a lot of other shonens do that, right?
Right.
Dragon Ball's known for yelling. I remember I told you we watched the Broly movie in theater. That's the most yelling I've ever seen in a movie ever in a movie theater.
That's wild. Sometimes it was just rah, rah, rah. It's like Jesus Christ. But that was just something I recognize as an adult. I don't think if I was younger, I don't think that would have been,
that wouldn't seem weird to you.
I just would have bought into the intensity of the situation. But I do like the reckless abandon that the show has, where it's like, buy into this shit or you're gonna get left behind.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I love when any movie does that, where it's like, you just have to
live in this world or be in this rules.
Yeah, you just have to suspend your disbelief and you're gonna enjoy it. Like,
yeah, he's gonna blow up a moon. That's totally cool.
Yeah, that's great. Like Harry Potter does it, Star Wars does it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where it's just buy in or get the fuck off,
yeah.
you know? So I really did. It approaches its lore with confidence.
Yeah, and there's a lot of it, because again, you're watching Dragon Ball Kai Z, right? Yeah. And this that you haven't seen all the lore that came before it when he was a kid
or after. Yeah.
Yeah. In again, it builds on itself. I mean, not necessarily you have to watch it, because I feel like when it became Dragon Ball Z or now Kai, it's a good jumping on point. Where this is where they, in my opinion, they take the action to crazy levels in this series. It gets to like planetary levels, galactic levels. Like it just gets crazier and crazier.
Yeah,
as it goes on, and then now we're in Super, and it gets to freaking multiversal levels and stuff.
Man, I'm telling you, it's becoming part of the zeitgeist, man. There's a reason for that.
Okay, I want to ask you. One thing that I always thought as a fan, I've always watched the series. I've watched Dragon Ball multiple times, games, books, mangas, everything, right?
Yeah.
How do you feel about the explanation of the rules, or like the shifts in tones of the world? Because I always felt like as someone coming in is like, man, they put a lot. Every time I rewatch them, like they always introduce like 2 new things in every line of something happening or an explanation. Because one thing that anime always gets criticism for is that there's a lot of exposition to explain everything that's happening, because I feel like they do a lot of exposition because they want to set up this moment, this fight, or this moment that you're going to get to,
or a big character moment.
Exactly.
Yeah. I think
like,
having
oh my god,
there,
it's like, oh my god, if he messed this up even once, his power would have gone crazy and died or something. You know, if people are always explaining things that are happening in the show,
when he goes something times 3, and it's like, oh no, he's not even supposed to do times 2.
No, they told him not to.
Yeah. Oh no.
Then it goes 4 after that. You're like, what?
And then he's in a body cast for months later.
Yeah.
No, but I think I'm glad I'm watching it with you, because I think I would have been lost if you weren't there. But because I was asking you questions the whole time.
No, yeah, and this series is that, like, you're not, like, if I showed you Naruto or some of those other shonens, like there is a beginning where like there's a progression. Dragon Ball needs explanation because again there was a whole series before this, and I was gonna show you that and jump into this because it would take too long.
And how many seasons was it in the first? It was like a 4 or 5 seasons, right? For Dragon Ball, just Dragon Ball.
I think so. I think it's like 200 episodes or 100 something.
Yeah, that's wild.
Yeah, and again, like, I want to get to the meat and potatoes, because that Dragon Ball for me, the original run, feels very much like Journey to the West. Like, if you know that, or that Chinese mythology of the Monkey King, it's very similar, you know?
Yeah, I saw parts of it.
Yeah.
I saw the episodes where Goku was on the cloud and he was in the little blue suit, and I saw a lot of that. I didn't see when he got older. I think I saw the very first season. They were showed on reruns on Channel 13. But I just don't remember too much of it, and I just remember that he would turn into a monkey. Yeah, you know, and then he couldn't anymore. But I didn't remember why. I didn't remember any of that. So watching this was a nice refresher. I really like how they did Gohan's character, where he's like, he's the most.
He's only 4.
Yeah, right. They forget his age. That's got to be.
And they're being the shot.
Yeah, it's got to be illegal somewhere, right? But it's really cool. It's fun. I understand the fandom. I understand how people would get into it. It's not always. I don't think I could watch it without you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, but I do want to finish watching Kai to see if I should get into Super, because they.
If you do, let me know, because I want to watch it with you. Cause
I'm down.
I'll be honest with you, modern Dragon Ball, there's some campiness to it, but just the action it just flows a lot better, because like even the old saying was, they'll fight for 2 minutes and then talk to each other for 5 to 7,
right,
you know, and then get back to another fight scene.
Yeah.
And this one in Super, it's more not tighter, but the fights are more portioned out equally to give it more weight and more they're paced better.
Right.
Newer, in my opinion, Dragon Ball is paced better than it was before.
Than it was in the past.
Exactly.
In the past, they were just giving you the story as the story was. Where right here, they're actually paying attention to the storytelling and the way the story.
And then add action in between, like in the Zamasu arc, which is in Super, one of the newer ones. Yeah. There's like multiple fights before they even beat him, you know, and with multiple different characters. But it adds to the pace of it, because sometimes I feel like Dragon Ball, where it's weakest is when it takes too long to get to the next point.
Yeah, that's definitely what turned me off from watching it on TV.
Yeah.
But I dug it. I really like the ideas that they, of how formidable the little guys are.
Yeah.
You know, the little chubby guy with the teased hair and the sword.
Yeah. Yajirobe.
Krillin, the fact that you see Krillin, who's just a normal human,
the probably the most strongest human in that world.
Yeah.
And he gets his shit kicked in all the time.
But he's there every time. So it's really cool. I really enjoy that it's not all about Goku. You know what I mean? It's not the story of Goku only. It's a story of this batch of people.
Yeah.
And it follows them through their victories and their failures and all that stuff. So I thought it was really cool in that front. Some of the animation was janky here and there, but as older series, especially in the first season, but it definitely cleans up by the second season.
Yeah. Can I ask you a question? Like, what did you think of the main fight between Goku and Vegeta? Like before, everyone else came in to help. Like
that's just when he does the ×4. Right?
Yeah, and then him fighting, and because I feel like I love Dragon Ball. That first fight still gets me every time because they always did some. It's kind of like what people say, like when old movies show you where this trope came from, and then you appreciate it as it's been, worked on, evolved, recycled, and things like you see these tropes happen. And Dragon Ball was one of those first animes that where like you see the fight scenes in the progression of a climactic fight and. Teleportations and then getting behind you, thinking that you beat me, but it's a test of strength.
Or him just chilling up there in the sky, and they're like, "What is he doing up there?" No, I thought that you could definitely feel the weight to it, where it's like, okay, these are two iconic characters here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like kind of like I was liken it to the scene, where Christian Bale and Heath Ledger meet up in the interrogation room.
Oh, right.
In Dark Knight. When they first have, a face-to-face conversation, that was just so much. There was just so much writing on that conversation. Yeah. It was so intense. That's how I felt it was. The one thing I didn't like about the outcome of that fight was the reason why Goku let him go.
Right.
I thought that was selfish.
Right.
That he lets him go because no. I gotta beat him. And he's like, how many fucking people are you gonna let this guy kill? And he does.
What I mean? It's one of those things that happens in a lot of shonen shows where like the main character wants to bring the goodness in the bad person.
I didn't take it as that. It seemed like it was like a pride thing.
It is a pride thing, but
I want to take him out.
But eventually, the way that you see the story progress, you realize that was the right decision. You know what I'm saying?
I see what you're saying.
Like, but not every shonen does that, right? Yeah. Again, but like,
but at the moment, the best thing would have been to let Krillin kill him.
Yeah,
right?
definitely, 100%.
Yeah.
But again, like as you watch the series, you realize, you know what, he was right at that moment.
I see.
Because Goku is a person who like you said, like if you kill him, it's such a waste of a person, of this great man.
Someone who can be great.
Yeah, and it's like, and I still want to challenge. Again, it is, you're 100% right. He's putting the Earth's lifeline for his ambition to fight him again. But it's the same thing where like, it's just a waste. I would never get to challenge again. I don't know how would it stack up. What if he becomes stronger? And it's a rivalry that he builds with a lot of characters since he was a boy, right? I think part of that, you miss part of that context because you don't watch him develop as a character as a younger person. But it's part of his, like you said, it doesn't make sense most of the time. But I feel it's the same thing with with wrestling. You don't want to kill off some of your wrestling the wrestlers in your heels or your babyface or whatever, right? Yeah. You want to always keep them around but change the story around them so it makes sense why they're around.
I think that piece could have been a little bit more. It would have been more true to like a heroic character if it was done out of mercy. Yeah. Versus out of
I want to fight him again.
Exactly. Or to me, I was like, man, what a dick, dude. So that was the one thing where I was like, man, I don't know if I like Goku. Man. Goku's kind of a dick.
He's an idiot. Yeah. And again, that's a common theme with a lot of shonen characters. They're morons because they want to have it their way, be out of a selfish need, right? Or because they think there's good in that person. But let me tell you,
pride or sense of self.
Goku does kill people. Yeah, he doesn't. He has moments where he realizes there's no saving this person. Yeah, and then he has to do what he needs to do, and that's what makes him a warrior. That's what Gohan has to learn as you see him develop slowly.
Yeah, I want to follow Gohan and Krillin's story too because I got into that part of it.
Yeah, because they're great characters.
I think I got into Gohan and Krillin more than I got into Goku. Yeah, you know what I mean. Goku's the Serpent Road was kind of like that's okay. Yeah, the training on the little planet was like there was good moments. And then the gaff fucking letting Vegeta live. I was just kind of like, fuck this guy. But he's a cool character still, But he's the ones that really got me were Krillin and Gohan, where I was like, okay,
you spend a lot of time with them, and they're more humanized. Yeah. Goku's almost like a fable. Where he shows up to wreck shit and then he leaves. Yeah. He's the Luke Skywalker moment of the Mandalorian, where know the shit's gonna get good because he showed up. Yeah, but it's not because you're there for his character progression. You know what I'm saying?
Right. He's like a force of nature.
But in Super, he does have more progression to his character. Again, these shows like shonen shows now, like My Hero Academia, Jujutsu Kaisen, they have way better stories now. With good fighting, so they have a good mix of drama, character development, and good big moments of fights. Big fighting moments. Okay. When before it wasn't like that. I just wanted to show you how Dragon Ball started because a lot of what you see now, at least with common modern animes, again, it's not that they owe anything to it, but these are where the tropes come from, and how they've in the way of Jujutsu Kaisen, how they've evolved those tropes to also add humanity, add levity, add forgiveness to certain characters, make more sense instead of let's not have him die because we want the main character to fight this guy multiple times. No, there's a reason why they're keeping this character alive because it makes sense to the story.
And at the end of the day, mythology has been around forever. Yeah. It's been around since we have. And like the second someone did some dope shit, mythology started. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I feel like there might not be many original ideas left. You know what I mean? Everything's kind of all the parts exist already. It's how you put it together. And I think this what the charm of Dragon Ball for me was not just the hero but the supporting cast. Is a supporting. I mean, you got the pervert grandpa. You know what I mean? Or it's just so funny and
we just have to ignore Mr. Popo because that's just problematic on its own.
You know what? Man, he's an alien. I'm just saying he's an alien. Real people don't look like that. But whatever. Yeah.
I just had to bring him up.
I blocked him out. I blocked him out of my memory until you said it right now, and I'm like, oh shit, that's right. But again, I mean, that was in other parts of the world, it's not. It's fine. Yeah. It's for them. It's fine to do that.
What now that you finished an arc of Dragon Ball, you're getting into no, you finished one arc.
Really?
You're getting into the second arc right now. Okay. This arc. It's considered the Ginyu Force arc, even though we haven't seen the Ginyu Force yet. Right. And then it becomes the Frieza arc. Okay. Even though we are introduced to Frieza already. It's a little weird, but that's how
it deviates and goes to the robots. Exactly. And then it goes back to Frieza.
Exactly. So we have the Ginyu Force coming up right now. Do you feel like you're in? Do you feel like you're going to watch everything up to Majin Buu? And then from there,
I'm going to try to get I'm gonna try to watch the whole thing as long as it doesn't become overly repetitive. If it does, then I'll probably check out.
Yeah.
But as long as to me, so far, the whole Namek thing was like, okay, these guys they're venturing out there, you know, not the characters. I mean, the writers and the way the storytelling. It was like, this is not where I thought this was gonna go.
And Akira Toriyama, the creator and the manga author, and the creator the person who wrote the story with the help of his publisher. Again, he likes story. He loves movies, and you could see a lot of inspiration of what he wanted to do with his character.
Yeah.
Do you see inspirations of Superman in Dragon Ball?
Absolutely.
You see, as we come up, you're gonna see inspirations of Aliens, Terminator, like a lot of things. And I kind of feel like that's what helps keep Dragon Ball relevant. You can put situations in this that keeps it in the zeitgeist of the moment. Like
the world's so off the wall.
Yeah,
the world is so off the wall
that anything could happen.
Anything fits. We have Furbies in it.
We have a freaking multiverse in Dragon Ball. And guess what? That's what's happening now. You know? With other stories.
No, that's 100% true. It's like you could plug anything into it, and you can tell any kind of story through it, and that's why it's important for it not to get repetitive. Though, you know, because it's like you can do so much with it. You know.
Yeah, they're not going to go back to another Android saga, which they did in GT, but that's not canon anymore.
Right.
And I don't want to get into the whole canon, non-canon.
Right.
I like GT okay as a show, just not for me.
Right. You know? But also that's like, you know, for people who want more content. Yeah. You know, and they get to see it that way. But no, overall I'm in. I want to watch the second set of Blu-rays, and then get through that, and then see where we're at from there, and continue to go. And if I could get to Super, I want to start Super. You know what I mean?
Let's do it.
I'm down, dude.
Well, I hope you guys are enjoying Psychonauts 2. You guys should definitely play it on Game Pass. What did you guys think? Do you guys like mafia movies? Have you guys gotten into Dragon Ball? Is Dragon Ball your first shonen? Are you watching more modern shonens that you could see how Dragon Ball came from? Let us know in the comments below. Thank you for watching, everyone, and we'll see you next time.
Bye, everybody.